October's been excellent for Nottingham Forest. 2 draws and 2 wins ahead of this game, garnered from a run of fixtures that included 3 promotion rivals. Keith Hill's Barnsley, who would be more than happy to have another year in the Championship, anticipated a difficult day. So it was a huge boost to see Marlon Harewood race down the middle midway through the first half. Having started his career at Forest, Harewood chose not to make too much fuss about his first league goal for 18 months. Maybe he should have done, because there was nothing else for Barnsley to celebrate. 10 minutes before half-time, Greg Halford's unconvincing effort deflected past Ben Alnwick to put Forest back on level terms. The start of a desperate spell for the home side, who then fell behind when Billy's sharp shot was parried to Simon Cox. Barnsley's lead had been frittered away in the space of 7 minutes, and it's hard to imagine the half-time mood in the dressing room once Chris Cohen had put Forest in command just before the interval. They were rarely in danger after the break, and the attacking quality of Sean O'Driscoll's much-changed squad was underlined by a classy finish from Jermaine Genus. An exciting season in the offing perhaps, though the manager's not a man who tends to wear his heart on his sleeve, typically understated.
After a run of 5 games without a win, Blackburn now have 2 in a row, although Rovers left it late against a defensively minded Watford. The most relieved man inside Ewood Park at full-time was Colin Kazim Richards. After Jordan Rhodes had won a 76th minute penalty, the Turkey international pulled rank and took the ball off Rhodes. But the points, as well as Kazim Richards, were slipping away after he stepped up. Rhodes came to the rescue though, as Watford suffered an injury-time defeat for the 2nd game running. There was an element of fortune in the way the ball fell to him, but nothing lucky about the finish, which earned Eric Black's men a result he felt they fully deserved.
Now here's Ince up against the lad, skips past him, it shoots left-footed, comes off for Kuszczak, and then Phillips turns the rebound over the bar, although Kuszczak may well have got a touch on that as well. Super little lofted pass from Taylor Fletcher to release Ince in the first instance. Past the lads comfortably, and Kuszczak just getting something on the follow-up from Matt Phillips. Blackpool corner. Headed goals and just wide. Taylor Fletcher unmarked at the near post. So close his side to breaking the deadlock. Well, they were still deciding who they were going to mark, the Brighton defenders, as Taylor Fletcher ghosted towards the near post. Still coming, Blackpool. Broadfoot. Grandin, Broadfoot again. Another real chance, and it's Baptiste, the centre-half in the opposition's 6-yard box, not quite able to get on the end of it. Grandin has found Baptiste. Baptiste from long range, just over. Well, Kuszczak was scrambling, probably not expecting a centre-back to unleash a shot of such fury from 25 yards. He drove it goalwards, Alex Baptiste. Gail Smith into Crofts. Broadfoot hasn't quite got it back to Gilks, and what a chance! And what a mess from Blackpool to gift Ashley Barnes the opening goal. After all the Blackpool pressure, a horrific misunderstanding has given the visitors the lead. They've soaked up so much pressure, Brighton, but the flick on from Mikael Smith caused confusion. Broadfoot and Gilks got their communication all wrong, and with Crofts providing the pressure, Barnes with the easiest job of the afternoon so far. Blackpool 0, Brighton 1. Phillips easily away from Bruno, pulling it back. Grandin inside the area. Grandin shot, chance! Oh, somehow over the crossbar from Tom Ince. What a chance! He can't believe it. Should be 1-1. Phillips with the pace to get away from Bruno. Grandin's goal-bound effort, deflecting to Ince, and he couldn't react quickly enough to keep it down. The goal was at his mercy. Craney. Great cross. Brilliant defending from Adam El Abd to deny Ince what would have surely been a tap-in. Grandin's corner. They come off a Brighton head. Yes, it did. It will be another Blackpool corner. They've had plenty of them. They've just not been able to make them count. Phillips this time with the set piece. Deeper. Headed down. Chance. Oh! Slipped. Delfonso, the substitute, with an unbelievable opportunity. Phillips with the cross, another chance, and finally a goal for Blackpool. Grandin with the equaliser. It is no more than they deserve, but you were just starting to wonder whether it would come. The quality of the delivery, hugely inviting. Phillips with it, and Grandin unmarked with his third goal in as many appearances. And he has rewarded his manager with the equalising goal. Blackpool 1, Brighton 1. Grandin. Again. Goes for goal. Oh, brilliant save from Kuszczak. Nearly 2 in a minute for Elliot Grandin. Phillips corner, another good one. Oh, over the bar. It was Evatt at the back post under real pressure. Ian Evatt couldn't keep it down, and look at the frustration from his manager. Oh, Phillips gets in behind Bridge. Pull back from Phillips. Oh, not dealt with. Delfonso. Second clear-cut opportunity since he's come on as a substitute, and for the second time he's not been able to take it. Kuszczak with the save, but Delfonso should have given him no chance. Mikael Smith helping it on. Buckley's cross. Mikael Smith goes for the spectacular, and Gilks, a spectator for so much of the contest, produces the save. Involved from that moment, getting the return via a deflection to Buckley. Gilks alert to make the save. Delfonso, good run. Again though, El Abd read the situation and was strong enough to deal with it. Corner taken short. Brighton perhaps just caught unaware. Angel fires it in. Another wonderful stop from Kuszczak. Can't have seen a great deal of that. They were just caught napping from the short corner, Brighton. There would have been an awful lot of shirts in front of Thomas Kuszczak as he had to make that save. It was heading inside the post.
This is El Mohammadi. Robert Corrin, good balance in now to Simpson. Corrin for Quinn. Quinn checks, holds off Cole Scouse. Jay Simpson, Sonny Aluko, Jay Simpson. Here's Aluko! Goal! Once again, that porous defence of Bristol City breached all too easily. Aluko's finish, Hull in front, more problems for Bristol City. Lovely combination, those two pacey attackers here linked up to absolute perfection. Amos clears it. Won by McManus here. In though goes Stephen Quinn. And Quinn will charge on. Quinn. El Mohammadi. Whipped in across here. Rossini with a header. And the player who began his career here so close to a second goal for Hull. Lovely whipped-in cross here by the Egyptian. And Rossignol, I think his dad would have scored that. John Stead into the feet here of Taylor. Taylor's ball through to try and find Pearson. He has done. Pearson's pull back. Davis! 6 goals in 6 games. Stephen Davis there with a fantastic finish to crown the first real attack the home team have made so far in the game. It's moved to equal the one which gave Hull the lead. Taylor on here to Stephen Pearson, and the pullback for Davis to finish brilliantly. Made by Pearson here, and on comes Davis to score yet again. And by Mark Wilson here now to Ryan Taylor. Tall, rangy striker Taylor. He's done well here to find Cole Scouse. Now Wilson. Taylor again. And Taylor's ball fizzed in. Great delivery as well. And Davis so close to a finish. That was a superb ball, just fizzed in, whipped in across the box here from Ryan Taylor. And Davis that close to 2-1 Bristol City. Chester. Now El Mohammadi for Sonny Aluko. Aluko, Robert Curran, back to goal here, Curran. Curran turns and wraps the crossbar. Robert Curran got the ball back to goal, turned magnificently here, and he's denied by the face of the bar. Unlucky. Foster. Taylor turns. Taylor's pass. Here's Davis again, and here's John Stead. And back in by Davis after the ball came back off the bar for Bristol City. Both teams going mighty close in the second half. Foster. Rossignol. Looking for Simpson, not finding Simpson. Briggs is the defender here. Briggs, poor clearance. Here's Corey Evans, who takes on the shot. Off the studs of McManus, I think, there for a corner as Evans charged on. Hasn't scored since the last day of last season. El Mohammadi now takes on and beats John Stead. That involves Aluko. Aluko. Sonny Aluko! Oh, great save! Heaton's parry. Rossignol now for Quinn. Quinn back across the line, a second goal, and a defensive calamity. Aluko's shot here forced the best of Heaton, and coming up maybe the worst of him. Rossignol, the former Robins player, found Quinn. Quinn's delivery. Cole Scouse' own goal for me, that. Pearson. Oh, Taylor's touch was awful. And Aluko can break. With him he's got Simpson to his right to El Mohammadi. Here goes El Mohammadi. In the middle only Simpson for now. Here's Aluko. Sonny Aluko and Jay Simpson across the face and wide. Lovely move. Just the finish lacking. Simpson. Sonny Aluko. All of red between those Hull blue shirts and the goal here. This is Sonny Aluko again, though. It's Aluko still. Aluko! Loves the shots from those areas, Aluko, from that position. Loves to wind one up and have a go, and this wasn't far away. Late drama here in the game with Burnley on Tuesday. This now is John Stead. This is John Stead still. That's only over the bar by a couple of feet, if that. Good effort here by John Stead. His endeavour so far all in vain. Domar's quick throw here on Sam Baldwin. Finds a chance to cross here, pulled back across goal. There'll be a corner. And the Domar corner. In by a Domar. Turned away, there's Pearson back in. Headed on, and against the bar. Well, this time the crossbar comes to the away team's rescue. The woodworker's been kissed now by both teams some 3 times in the second half alone. That's McKenna, and now Simpson. Aluko cushioned into the path of Stephen Quinn here. This can finish it. It's Stephen Quinn who deserves a goal. Aluko has a goal. Aluko will maybe have a second goal here, but the Heaton save. Aluko has been so impressive today, and there Heaton denies him a second goal.
Malky Mackay's Cardiff now have the only 100% home record in the Football League after giving Burnley's caretaker manager Terry Pashley a torrid afternoon in South Wales. The Clarets' tormentor-in-chief was the Bluebirds' Craig Noon, who shook the woodwork with a third-minute strike before Joe Mason aimed for the same corner with more success. The perfect start Cardiff knew they may well need, with Charlie Austin looking to set a new Burnley record by netting for the 9th game running. He'll have to settle for sharing that place in the history books alongside Ray Pointer, the club's goal-scoring hero of the 1950s. As Austin's run stayed stubbornly stuck on 8 successive games, Cardiff continued to have problems with the post. Mason denied his second of the game, and Michael Duff's last-ditch challenge averted the danger. Reports in Lancashire claim ex-Watford boss Sean Dyche has been offered the Burnley job and is making up his mind. The former defender will have seen plenty to work on. Noon made the Clarets pay for not closing him down, doubling the advantage. When he's on song, the Liverpudlians are a delight to watch, a real entertainer, and this was definitely one of those days. The winger desperately unlucky not to add to his tally in the second half. Even so, Cardiff remained on course to hit the summit. They sealed the victory with 7 minutes left. A simple header for Matt Connolly from Peter Whittingham's corner. And the final flourish was added when another Whittingham delivery was knocked down for Aaron Gunnarsson. All that without the injured Craig Bellamy and Tommy Smith, a flawless Cardiff performance.
Paul Jewell's time in charge of Ipswich came to an end on Wednesday, and the beginning of Chris Hutchings' spell as caretaker boss started badly against Wednesday. Just 1 minute and 23 seconds in, to be exact, as some pinball around the town penalty area provided Ross Barkley with the chance to stroke home. It was an all too familiar feeling for the home fans, who haven't seen their team win at Portman Road in the league since the end of March, and they would have been even more downbeat during their half-time cuppa had Danny Higginbottom not been patrolling the goal line. But the travelling fans could start to celebrate a first away league win of the season when Barkley added another long-ranger to his account just before the hour mark. And Michael Antonio ensured they ended their 9-game run without a league victory in style, as Ipswich made it 10 league games on their own patch without a win, an unwanted new club record. Someone needs to ride to their rescue sharpish.
Lee Clark got exactly what he wanted on his 40th birthday. Birmingham's first win for a month, thanks in part to Leeds losing their scoring touch. Al Hadj Diouf's effort blocked as United drew a blank in front of goal for the first time all season. It wasn't all about missed opportunities. Jack Butland's brilliant save from Diouf and double quick recovery made sure Birmingham were nicely poised for a final push. The game still goalless going into the last 20 minutes. In truth, there haven't been much to shout home about, but that all changed when Leroy Lita set his sights. Paddy Kenny in the Leeds goal couldn't get close to it. And the same applied when Lita's flick released Marlon King to unleash a ferocious strike of his own. The crossbar kept the score down, but the points were still bound for Birmingham. Lita's spectacular gift had made the manager's day.
They may no longer have their freedman, but no one's taken Palace's spirit away from them, as caretaker boss Lenny Lawrence led the Eagles to their 5th win in 7 league games and ended Leicester's perfect home record in the process. Although it could have been a different story early on had David Nugent been a bit more clinical. There had been recent rumours that Real Madrid were weighing up an offer for Kasper Schmeichel, but Jose Mourinho wouldn't have been too impressed with his part in Palace's opener. Damien Delaney taking advantage of the Danes' fumble, although he felt the blame lay elsewhere. The Foxes had conceded just 2 goals on their own patch all season before Palace pitched up, but Peter Ramage made it 2 in 5 minutes for the Eagles. Palace let a 2-goal lead slip last weekend, and only Owen Garvan prevented Nugent triggering a sense of déjà vu just before the break. The Foxes felt they had a couple of decent penalty shouts, but Andy Haynes waved them all away, deciding Garvan hadn't waved the ball away on this occasion. Palace were denied a win late on in midweek, so they would have been understandably nervy when Andy King brought Leicester back into it in stoppage time. However, the Eagles should have been able to relax almost immediately after that, but Yannick Bolasie couldn't make the most of Schmeichel's slip.
Bolton's fourth manager in 5.5 years, Dougie Freedman had a watching brief at the Riverside. Jimmy Phillips picked the Trotters team for the trip to Middlesbrough, recalling Lee Chung-yong. The midfielder responded with his first goal in what's been an injury-plagued 18 months. But it's the goals against column that's been the biggest problem for Bolton this season. Their defensive shortcomings were in evidence as a second-half brace from substitute Scott McDonald earned Borough their fourth consecutive win. While they stay hot on the heels of the top two, Bolton are far closer to the bottom. Freedman will need to make an instant impact.
Kenny Jackett wanted Millwall to tighten up at the back without losing their attacking instincts, so this was just the ticket for the Lions boss. 28 minutes gone when on loan West Brom striker Chris Wood put them ahead. Jackett may have got his wish as his side kept their first clean sheet of the season, but Keith Southern was among a couple of Huddersfield players that should have ensured their wait continued. While the Terriers failed to convert their chances, the Lions gobbled up theirs. Wood keeping cool to maintain his hot form. That made it 4 goals in his last 2 games. It all fell apart for Huddersfield after that. Boss Simon Grayson admitted they were too open as they chased the game, and there was certainly plenty of space for James Henry to make the point safe with 12 minutes to go. Millwall had blown a 3-goal lead here against Birmingham in midweek, but there was no chance of a repeat this time around. Top scorer Darius Henderson close to joining in the fun before Jack Hunt displayed some of the lack of discipline his manager bemoaned afterwards. Foul and abusive language, the reason for his red card. In terms of goals, the best was saved until last as Liam Trotter waltzed through, the Lions extending their unbeaten run to 6 games.
Peterborough fans are starting to believe again. 4 wins out of 6 have put a different complexion on things at London Road, where skipper Michael Bostwick put Posh on their way to back-to-back victories. Derby were unbeaten in 5, but Nigel Clough described this as a day where everything went wrong. Theo Robinson's near impossible miss was just the beginning. Peterborough were given the opportunity to double their lead early in the second half when Richard Keogh brought down George Boyd for a penalty. Keogh claimed a touch on the ball. If there was one, it was surely incidental. Goalkeeper Adam Legstins got him off the hook, saving from Lee Tomlin's spot kick. But the Rams remained in generous mood. Midway through the second half, this challenge from Jake Buxton earned him a second yellow card inside 5 minutes. Like Keogh, the defender was claiming he got the ball. Referee Simon Hooper didn't agree. 2 late goals sealed Derby's fate. An uncharacteristic error from the otherwise outstanding Legstins gifted Sado Berahino his first Peterborough goal. On loan from West Brom, the teenager looks like one to watch. His second of the match arrived 4 minutes later and lifted Posh out of the bottom 3 on goal difference. It's been a bad week for Wolves. Twice in the space of 5 days, Stahl Solbaken's side have allowed valuable points to slip through their fingers. Things started well enough. Bakary Sakho's 5th goal of the season had Wanderers ahead with just 12 minutes on the clock. But Wolves' goal threat soon evaporated. Salim Kirkar went close as a well-drilled Charlton side began to frustrate their hosts. The heroic failure of the week belongs to Kevin Doyle, who inadvertently got ahead to Tongo Dumbia's goal-bound shot. Doyle was offside and so prevented a potentially match-winning goal. Charlton enjoyed better fortune. How about this for a couple of lucky bounces? The key one falling to Laurie Wilson, whose first Addicks goal secured a share of the spoils. In fairness to Charlton, they've recorded some good results away from home this season and could have taken maximum points here. Rob Hulse twice had the opportunity, but not the finishing touch. His last gasp header could and perhaps should have made Wolves' day even worse.
No easy assignment this for reserve team coach Mickey Barron, who's taken the reins at Hartlepool for now. The caretaker boss facing an uphill struggle from the 11th minute. Paul Hayes swivelling to fire Brentford into the lead. It was another tidy turn which launched the Pools' response. Simon Walton feeding Tony Sweeney, who enjoyed a stroke of luck. The deflection off Harley Dean pegging Brentford back, only for Hayes to prove a point again to his detractors in the second half. The former Charlton striker had taken flack from a section of the Bees fans after 12 games without scoring for his new club. 2 in 1 match ought to earn him some respect. The opportunity to make Brentford's win secure fell to dead ball specialist Harry Forrester. Scott Flinders was equal to the effort, a save which proved crucial in stoppage time when Pools snatched a welcome point. Brentford's wound self-inflicted for the second time, Tony Craig adding another OG to the score sheet.
The clouds had lifted at Gig Lane in the week after Bury finally picked up their first win of the season to climb off the bottom. They might have gone back there after this gaffe from keeper Trevor Carson handed Will Grigg the chance to scramble Walsall in front. But Carson's clangor didn't affect Kevin Blackwell's side for long. 4 minutes later they were back on terms. And how about this for a solo effort? Dominic Pollion bringing the ball out of his own half and brushing off 2 men before an emphatic finish gave David Groff little chance in the Walsall goal. An absorbing first half with more drama to come as David Worrell played in Pollion. Another goal-bound shot, but goal-line heroics from Walsall captain Andy Butler keeping it out.
Bournemouth had rattled in 6 goals in 2 games since Eddie Howe returned to the club earlier in the month, and Mark Pugh danced past Carlisle keeper Mark Gillespie to get them off to a terrific start at Brunton Park. But Carlisle levelled up after Sean McDonald's weak clearance was latched onto by Liam Noble. The home side, though, had conceded 14 in 7 home matches before the weekend, the worst record in League One. And Pugh, tormenting Simek once more, restored the Cherries' lead from a very tight angle. And 6 minutes into the second half, Lewis Grabban made it 3-1. It was a really assured finish after Lee Barnard had created the confusion on the edge of the Carlisle box. You sensed the 4th goal wasn't far away for Bournemouth, now playing with total fluency and confidence. And Barnard's deflected shot put the issue beyond all doubt. David Symington arrived at the far post to add some respectability to the scoreline for Carlisle after a delightful cross from Matty Robson. A superb finish, but amazingly not one home side managed a victory, with 5 draws and 6 away wins.
Watch the bottom right of the screen for the moment which looked likely to dictate the course of this match. Oldham defender Jean-Yves Voto unwisely raising his hand to Carl McFadzean right in front of the ref, before giving Gary Alexander a shove. No prizes for guessing the outcome. Oldham would have to play 70 minutes in Sussex with just 10 men, a punishment which lost some of its impact when Crawley also found themselves a man light for the final half hour. Hope Akpan's lunge at Robbie Simpson prompted another straight red from Gavin Ward. With the number of players levelled up, the Latics could afford to be more adventurous. And their man of the moment, Jose Baxter, soon made his mark. The former Everton youngster's 3rd goal in as many games brought delight for Paul Dickoff's team, the prospect of an upset against a Crawley side chasing their 4th successive victory. In response, the high-flying Reds turned the screw, Alexander using his muscle to keep the pressure on before Josh Simpson was thwarted by Dean Bazanis, earning the keeper a smacker. Less kissing, more concentration might be the manager's message. From the corner, McFadzean salvaged a draw for Crawley, enough to lift them to 2nd.
Yeovil's joint top scorer Paddy Madden has stuck away 5 goals in 4 games since coming on loan from Carlisle, but this one was chalked off for offside. In the end it made no difference as the League One's top scorers on the road grabbed a winner through Byron Webster 5 minutes before the break. A 3rd win on the spin for Yeovil.
The first league meeting since 1966 for two sides who've mostly been at opposite ends of the football pyramid and both desperate for points to climb away from the League One drop zone. 6 minutes in and Gary McSheffrey's shot was too hot to hold for Orient keeper Ryan Alsop. David McGoldrick in the right place at the right time to put the Sky Blues in front. Some fine goalkeeping stopped Orient from levelling, Joe Murphy clawing away Scott Wagstaff's header before David Mooney blazed over. It's now 5 defeats in 6 for Russell Slade's side. County boss Keith Curle has warned his side their promotion chances could be in jeopardy if they don't tighten up their leaky defence. And there was no clean sheet here as Doncaster kept their own promotion push bubbling. Paul Keegan heading in David Sayer's cross for his first goal of the season. No wonder he looked rather pleased. With County crumbling, Doncaster was soon cruising. Ian Hume granted time and space to feed Chris Brown, who in turn had the freedom to pick his spot as Rovers grabbed 2 goals in 2 minutes to make it 3 wins in a row and move within 4 points of leaders Tranmere.
MK Dons started the season as one of the favourites for promotion, but after 5 games without a win they needed a helping hand from keeper Sam Slocum to get them up and running. Slocum flapping at the Dean Lewington cross and Luke Chadwick took full advantage. And Chadwick wasted no time in providing a little security. No chance this time for Slocum as the former Manchester United winger finished delightfully to the top corner. Absolutely brilliant. And it was Angelo Balanta who provided the cross which led to the 3rd goal on the hour. The corner not convincingly cleared, and when it came back in, Scunny defender Paul Reed headed past his own keeper, under pressure from Alan Smith. Only 6 goals all season away from home before kick-off, but after David Murphin hauled over Balanta, Chadwick had the chance to complete the rout and his own hat-trick. But this time Slocum reacted brilliantly to save the spot kick. This was much more like it from MK Dons.
While Arsenal were struggling for a breakthrough against QPR, a couple of Gunners graduates found it much easier in Shrewsbury. Craig Eastman shrugging aside Matt Richards unpunished to give Colchester a 3rd-minute lead, which was doubled midway through the second half by another man on loan from the Emirates. Sanchez Watt has a turn of pace to terrify third-tier defenders and the composure to make it count. The Essex club appeared to be cruising to a 4th straight victory, a sequence in which they hadn't conceded a goal. That run ended with 11 minutes left. From John Taylor's corner, Asa Hall had discovered an Achilles heel because just 3 minutes later, the same combination came up trumps again. A point salvaged in dramatic fashion by Graham Turner's men, who suddenly fancied their chances of collecting all 3. Taylor and Jeremy Elan combined on the break, only for Taylor to snatch at his potentially match-winning chance and blaze his shot high into the stand. The draw good, but it could have been even better.
Swindon boss Paolo Di Canio claimed before kick-off that next Tuesday's Capital One Cup tie at home to Aston Villa was more important than this League One clash with high-flying Stevenage. But Rafael De Vita's opener after being set up by Matt Ritchie was the signal for a Swindon display of total belief. The first arrived after 17 minutes and the Robins went 2 up through Ritchie. Alan McCormick's cross fisted clear by Steve Arnold, and Stevenage was staring at their first league defeat at home in 19 matches. They were being overrun, and it would have been worse had Tommy Miller not had a spot kick saved by Arnold. McCormack once again running free, and it was Anthony Grant who foolishly conceded the penalty. Miller's run-up more impressive than the penalty kick itself. Chance gone, but it was only a temporary reprieve for the side who started the day just 1 point behind leaders Tranmere. 18-year-old Miles Story starting a league match for the first time, sticking away the first senior goal of his career. And the quality of the Swindon football continued after the break. Substitute Adam Rooney joining the party and maybe giving his manager a selection headache ahead of the sellout cup tie.
It was billed as Family Fun Day at Prenton Park, anything to lighten the mood after a miserable week. Still not much to smile about on the field though, as Jeffrey Monacana's cross came back off the bar and Paul Huntington headed Preston ahead 5 minutes after the break. Graham Wesley's side don't do narrow victories. They've scored at least twice in all of their 6 league wins this season and should have been 2 goals up here when Jack King saw the goal gaping before somehow planting the shot wide. The despair all too obvious. And it proved an expensive miss, Tranmere avoiding a 3rd successive defeat. On loan Wolves striker Jake Cassidy squeezing the ball home to move his tally into double figures with the equaliser 5 minutes from time.
Paul Cook's departure has given Liam Richardson a second spell as Accrington caretaker manager. Stanley say the job is his if he wants it, and it certainly looks like Richardson has the right stuff. Under his stewardship, Accrington ended a 4-match losing streak. The game was settled by Podregamon's 7th goal of the season. It was tough on Rovers, who battled gamely despite a crippling injury list. Even keeper Neil Etheridge pushed forward for a late equaliser. But his opposite number, Ian Dunbavin, proved unbeatable. The Pirates stay in close proximity to the relegation zone. Roman Vansalo arrived at Gillingham on Friday. The Brighton midfielder made a good start to his loan spell, firing the only goal at a windswept Wimbledon. In blustery conditions, the Dons threw everything at the visitors. Goalkeeper Stuart Nelson helped the Gills weather the storm.
A frustrating afternoon for Bradford began when skipper Ricky Ravenhill tangled with Lee Bell, and what appeared to be a headbutt on the Burton midfielder earned him a straight red, though boss Phil Parkinson said he plans to appeal. Albion almost took advantage when Jack McHomer clipped the bar after a neat exchange with Calvin Zola. They finally made the extra man count, a long ball sparking panic in the Bradford defence as Zola headed in Damien McCrory's cross for his 6th of the season to bring Burton their first win in 5 attempts.
Fatalistic Exeter fans will have had this result pegged well in advance. Not even Jimmy Cahan's early effort could lift the sense of impending doom. The Grecians, bang out of form, have lost every single league game they've ever played against Cheltenham. So when the Robins' Lawson Diath claimed a debut goal, Exeter's prospects looked bleak. Having scored only once in 5 winless games, the Grecians can't buy a goal at the moment. Scott Brown saved from Jamie Kiriton as they succumb to a 6 defeat out of 8. By contrast, Cheltenham are finding their best form. Keith Lowe extended Town's lead just after the hour. Never a regular scorer, the reliable defender made the most of his return to the first 11. Lowe got his 2nd and Cheltenham's 3rd 3 minutes from time. The Robins' biggest win of the season sees them climb into the top 3. Exeter are heading in the opposite direction. Danny Andrew almost added a 4th against a side that just cannot stop the rot.
Paul Cook has taken charge at Chesterfield, having made the switch from Accrington. His first challenge was to subdue a Barnet side spurred on by the renaissance of Edgar Davids. The Dutchman didn't extend keeper Richard O'Donnell. The Spireites created plenty of opportunities, but Sam Togwell wasn't alone in finding Bees keeper Graham Stack in inspired form. It was heading towards a goalless draw until Drew Talbot clipped Andy Yeardham's heels. And Mark Burns' 90th minute penalty secured Barnet their first away win of the season. Davids still unbeaten on his comeback, and not surprisingly contrasting moods in the two camps.
Hotshots Dagenham and Redbridge had scored 15 goals in their last 8 league games, but after Matthew Saunders clipped the top of the Aldershot bar, they never really created another chance. The away side had scored 5 in each of their last 2 trips to Victoria Road, and they certainly finished the stronger. Danny Hilton missing after he got in behind, and then he created an opportunity at the far post for Michael Rankin. An instinctive save from Chris Lewington kept the scores level.
Port Vale were top of the form table going into the match, but their 6-game unbeaten run came to an end in dramatic fashion. Dramatic and painful for Northampton's Alex Nichols. The Cobblers' top scorer putting his side in front on 19 minutes, but suffering a broken leg in the process thanks to John McCoon's late challenge. McCoon shown the red card and the game held up for 11 minutes before Nichols was taken straight to hospital. 3 minutes before the break, it went from bad to worse for 10-man Vale as Adebayo Akinfenwa flicked on, and substitute Louis Moult punished a dithering defence to net Northampton's second and his first of the campaign. The sense that Vale were heading for their first defeat in 8 games confirmed when Ashley Vincent raced clear, only for keeper Lee Nichols to keep out the shot. The win for Northampton tempered by concern for their injured striker.
Rochdale were chasing back-to-back home wins and came within a couple of inches of edging ahead against high-flying Fleetwood. Dean Howell tugging back Bobby Grant to give Ashley Grimes the chance to convert from 12 yards, but Scott Davis kept him at bay with the aid of the upright. Alex Marrow then saw yellow for the second time in the space of 10 minutes, but the Cod Army stood firm to keep a 7th clean sheet of the season. Rotherham would have been a couple of goals up by half-time had it not been for Plymouth keeper Jake Cole. First he kept Lee Frecklington at bay before pulling off another wonder save, in the words of Miller's boss Steve Evans, as Ben Pringle was prevented from finishing off a neat move. Evans felt his side didn't play particularly well, but one of his substitutions had the desired effect as Kieran Agard made the most of Daniel Nardiello's neat work just 12 minutes after coming on from the bench.
Just one defeat now in 8 away games for York City, and had Jason Walker taken a presentable opening early in the second half at Roots Hall, this could have been all 3 points for the Minster men. And they were the side asking most of the questions in a pretty uneventful encounter. Southend keeper Paul Smith making a smart double save after Ashley Chambers released Matty Blair down the right. Late on, it was Southend's turn to squander an opening. Skipper Chris Barker frustrated, but a winner for Southend would have been tough on York City.
Torquay may have a yellow jersey, but at the moment they seem to be conserving energy in the chasing pack. Nathan Craig had an early side of goal as Martin Ling's side won this without being at their best. Able to defeat Gillingham in the week, you sense that at some point the goals will make their attack. For now though, they're happy to just keep pace. Danny Stevens' first goal of the season was enough for 3 points and back-to-back wins for the first time since April. That speaks volumes about Torquay's inconsistency. On another day, this tepid performance might have cost them, but Michael Poke's save from Luis Alessandra ensured that the goals stay firmly in the promotion race.
It's only 25 miles to Wickham, but these Oxford supporters did it the hard way. They walked, setting off before dawn to raise money for the Helen and Douglas House Children's Hospice.
A magnificent effort on a cold morning, on a dark morning at 5 o'clock this morning. They've been fantastic.
We're here, we raised some good money for charities, and I'm really proud to be a fan of this football club and proud to be part of this community.
Unlike their fans, Chris Wilder's team haven't produced on their travels, but the prospect of ending a run of 6 successive away defeats looked much brighter after just 4 minutes. James Constable won't catch many sweeter than that. The visitors extended their lead just after the break. Tom Craddock, who grabbed 4 last weekend, caught the Chairboys flat-footed, and his finish was emphatic. A warming moment for those travelling fans, whatever the elements. Wickham's caretaker boss Gareth Ainsworth needs results to convince the board the manager's job should be his full-time. When Dave Winfield hit the turf, referee Neil Swarbrick had no hesitation in awarding the penalty. Joel Grant halved the deficit. On a ground where goals have been few and far between this season, a 4th was decisive. When keeper Nicky Bull fumbled, Oxford kept the ball alive, and Sean Rigg found Johnny Mullins, the defender on loan from Rotherham, who wrapped up Oxford's first away points since August. A good day on the road for the U's.